Alright, so this will be part 2 of the beginner series. We'll focus here on, once you got your piece centered, we're going to go ahead and pull that into a cylinder. So cylinders is the basic form for almost everything that you throw on the wheel. The exception being like plates or bowls. But for mugs, cups, vases, pitchers, everything else, it's a cylinder, and the cylinder is kind of like the most basic form that you can make. So we're going to focus on making a cylinder here. Once again, we're going to use 2 pounds of clay. I'm just going to reuse this piece that we centered in the last video. It's already centered and on the wheel, so we're just going to go through pulling up a cylinder, and yeah, you can take it anywhere from there. So we're gonna focus on pulling and a cylinder. All right, so I'm gonna set up my camera, my overhead camera, and get going on this. Alright, so you've got your piece of clay centered here, and now you're like, what do I do with it? Well, the easiest thing to do with it would just be make a bowl, because clay wants to be a bowl on the wheel. It always wants to be a bowl. Just from the fact that it's spinning around, it's going to want to come out, you know, from the forces that are pushing the clay out. So when you're pulling a cylinder, you don't want that to happen. So what we will do is try to pull up the walls, but keep it in a cylinder shape. So first, we got to open the center. So once again, if you're new, a sponge that has been squeezed out, most of the water squeezed out of it, this will be your friend. Okay. I'll probably ditch it a little bit later, but for now we'll use the sponge. So we got your piece centered here, and it's like, what do I do with it? Well, we're gonna open it. So when I open, I use a thumb off center from the middle. Okay. If you push straight down in the middle, you might get it in the middle, and you might not. So if you push with one thumb off center, like that, and then while you're pushing, let it slide down into the middle. It'll want to do that. And you can see I'm bracing my thumb here with my other thumb. So you'll want to hold the sides just to keep it from moving out, and use your thumb to push down in the middle. And be sure to use water during this step. A lot of friction happens during opening, so you just push down like that. You got a little hole in there. Okay, and then I don't want you to focus too much on getting the exact right depth right now. Just get it close, you know, within an inch of the bottom. And you can always check that by using a needle tool. So here I've got my janky needle tool. You just take the needle like this and put your finger on it. Push it all the way down till it hits the wheel head, and then pull it out. And you can see exactly how deep it is. So that's just a tip for seeing how deep it is. So once you got your hole down there, okay, then you're going to want to hold it on the side with your left hand, and then use your thumb to push against the wall, so you're pulling it out. Okay. So once you've got your opening there, you want to pull with your thumb towards the outer wall. Okay, and you're bracing with your left hand. Okay, and then I use my fingers, and I make the bottom edge square. Okay, just like that. So right now it's a cylinder in there. The bottom edge is square with the bottom on the side. And then this is the perfect time to compress the bottom. So you start from the outside edge of the bottom, and you push down and in towards the middle. And a little piece of clay should come off with your finger. Okay, so now you've got your piece open. Okay, you got your walls there. And then for my first pull, I always, with my hands against the wheel head, my thumbs inside, I push in with my hands and go make it like this, okay? And I put my thumbs inside, and that will guide the inside wall up. Okay, this is just a quick trick to get a lot of the clay that's down there at the bottom, because most of it's down here, get it up and into the walls of a cylinder. So squeezing in with my pinkies here, and with my thumbs hooked in here, pull up. Okay, and you've got yourself about another inch there in height. Okay, and then especially when you're a beginner, you want to pinch the top here and compress with your finger, and that compresses the top, and it stops the top from getting weebly wobbly or getting out of control, and it'll make it stronger as well. So now that you've got this, and you can skip the easy pull in the beginning and just go straight for a regular pull. So for a regular pull, use a sponge. It's it's cheating, but in a good way. And I like to have my sponge like this, where I'm holding my sponge and I got my 3 fingertips here protruding from the sponge. Okay, and with those 3 fingertips, start at the very bottom, way down there at the wheel head, and just make a divot. Okay, you can see this little divot down here at the bottom. Okay, and for the first pull, I want this hand to basically just be doing nothing. It's just guiding the clay on the inside. Most of the work here on the outside. So push in with the out hand and push up and in towards the middle as you go up. Okay, and go all the way to the top, over the edge, and then hit it with that compression there. Okay, and you can do this as many times as you need to. I like to push with the outside hand and just guide it up with the inside hand until the clay down at the bottom, down here, is just maybe twice the thickness of it up here, which it is right now. Okay, so you get a buttress forming. Just go ahead and push that out. Okay, so you got a little divot down there in the bottom again. And then comes a real pull. So for a real pull, you're going to want your inside hand to be pulling up like this. You're going to hook your fingers into the wall and pull up. On the outside, you're going to have your sponge, or if you're not comfortable using a sponge and that much water, just to use your fingertips, but you're going to want to brace your hands together. So as you can see, my inner hand is down. It's resting on the bottom of the cylinder, and then on the outside you got your divot going at the very bottom. Okay, so you're going to start pushing in on the bottom from the outside and pulling up on the inside. And when you do that, you can see there's a little bump, and it's rising with your hands. Okay, and then when you get to the top here, you can go ahead. I start churning the sponge like this so that the top edge doesn't flare out too much, and I'm not pushing out with my inner hand once I get to the top area here. And then if you flare out too much up here, just get your hands wet, push in at the top. This is collaring, and I use my thumbs to compress the rim there. just like that. Okay, you've got your cylinder. So we'll go ahead and do that one more time. And don't worry about this being too small. When you put your hand in there, it's going to grow. So make sure you've got enough lubrication inside, and then we'll just do one more pull, okay? So get that divot going in there in the bottom by pushing in, and then pull with your inner hand hooked in there. Push up with your outside hand, and just follow it up, and then you want to match the speed that you're going up to the wheel speed, okay? And then once again, you can just collar in the top part here, like that. And there you go. That is a cylinder. From here, you can, make it into a. Let's do a creamer. So we're going to pull again, but this time we're going to push out from the inside, and we're going to follow it up with our outside hand with less pressure, so that it goes into what's called a shaping pull. And I'll just go ahead and do that again. Get some shape into this. Make sure your hands are well lubed. You can use lots of water when you're starting. You're not going to be going too tall. You're not going to be making some crazy thing that's going to flop right away. And with a cylinder, you don't have to worry as much about flopping as you do something that's wide like a bowl. So yeah, do something like that. Collar this in a bit here towards the top. And then put a spout in it. There you go, and you can add a little handle there later, or whatever you want to do. And that is that's how to pull a cylinder on the wheel. If I'm not clear about any of this, go ahead and leave a comment. I can post follow-up videos or add to these videos, no problem. Anyway, that's a cylinder in a nutshell. Thanks for watching.